evening, everyone. Kalla here. Welcome to my live stream. Glad you could make it today. So today we are back for some variable barricade. Last time we were working our way through Ichia's level 1 barricade board because we have to work through all of them, so we might as well start from the left and work to the right. And Ichiya had run away from home after we finally erupted on him about the food situation. And yeah. It appears that Hibari may be regretting that. Hello, Drag. How you doing? Alright, let's see how we resolve this then, huh? Wait a second. Why is the capture card not picking up audio? Or at least not visually from what I can see. Why are you not working? Chat is broken. Let's see. Why is everything broken today? Right. Okay, I fixed chat. Alright, just a second. Let's turn that off. And let's turn it back on again. Where on earth is the audio? What has gone wrong? Right, just a second. And no, it's still disappeared from the audio mixer. Lovely, wonderful. It should be fine. I am assuming that you guys can't hear the audio, given that OBS is telling me that it's not doing the audio. Why? Ooh, there we go. I think I managed to get the audio to work. I just had to tell it to do something else with the audio and then to do what it was supposed to be doing. Yeah. Great. cool. Why is this not working now? Just going to turn that on. Okay. Right. Hooray for tech fails. Right, so let's get to it. Evening came. Ichia still hadn't returned by the time dinner arrived. I glumly looked at the spread of takeout sushi that was set before me instead of his cooking.
Ah, Taiga-san, otoro 4つ目。お前がトロトロしてんのが悪い。
Is that a pun, Tiger?
今のってトロトロかけてるんですか？うっせえ。
羊くん、ここの店いい素材使ってるね。僕気に入ったよ。
お口に合ったようで何よりです。
Kasuga gave a small bow to Shion before coming to stand beside me.
ひばり様はいかがですか？それならよろしいのですが。
Having heard my answer, he stepped away. Nayata spoke up, a cheerfully satisfied look on his face.
ああ、せっかく美味しいお寿司なんだから、みんなで食べたかったな。イチヤさん、早く帰ってくるといいですね。
Nayata's smile was bright, innocent. I couldn't bring myself to say anything. Also, I realized I didn't say hi, Nick, because I was trying to fix things. But hi, Nick. Hope you're doing well. After dinner, I went up to my room and slid into bed. There I sat, staring at my phone for half an hour. How am I? Work is stressful. I'm going to take out that stress on on these boys. I tried to do as Samugi had suggested and send a whiz message to Ichia, but even after all this time, the screen was still blank. The only thing I'd typed was the recipient's name. I knew what I wanted to say, and that wasn't the issue. The problem was that the things I wanted to say sounded childish or petulant when I transcribed them. What should I say to him? I was tempted to toss my phone to the side and go to sleep, but I kept hesitating. Oof. Yeah, tech crashes are not great when you've got to get something that has to be out that day. Technically, I had something that was supposed to be out today, except that the client came back with so many more issues about the other half of it that we sent last week, and it's like, well, you're not getting anything today then, are you? But I'm not going to talk about that here. We are here to get annoyed at four blokes who have problems. I heaved a sigh and tried once more to think of something to say. Nayuta's worried about you? Why on earth would I tell him that? I'm sorry about yesterday? I hurt him badly. Was an apology via text sufficient? Where are you? That came across as a bit too clingy. Hurry and come back home. That makes me sound a little desperate. While my emotions spun in circles, the minutes kept ticking away. Please get in touch. I typed a message, hit send, and flopped back onto my bed. That's the best I can manage. Yep, let's just go with the prove you aren't dead, please. Yeah, at least she did actually send something. Good job, Hibari. I rolled over. Holding my breath a moment, I brought my phone back in front of my face and checked the screen. The message was still unread. It didn't seem like he was checking his texts. Is he asleep? Or maybe his phone battery is dead, or... could he be ignoring me? Girl, it has been like a minute. If he hasn't sent you anything back by morning, then's the time to worry. For some reason, the worst answer felt like the correct one. A little shiver danced up my spine. Could I have phrased my message a little better? Was sending him a whiz message a bad idea? Maybe I'd just made things worse. I laid in bed, battling waves of regret, when I heard Kasuga's voice from the far side of my door. Lured by his familiar voice, I got up and opened the door for him. Kasuga looked bemused. I was speechless for a second.
別に心配とかじゃないわよ。ただ仮にも花婿候補が無断外泊とか音信不通はルール違反というか。だから帰ってきたらペナルティーを。
ええ。ペナルティーは花婿候補脱落です。
え？
このまま行けばの話ですが、そうなればひばり様にとっても好都合。無職の手に負えない相手が一人消えますね。
That is true. Well, yes, but...
嬉しくはないのですか?
Kasuga's bright grin brought me back to myself.
嬉しいわよ。当然でしょ。あの甘ったるい口説き文句を聞かないで済むなんて。はあ、せいせいする。今日からぐっすり寝られそうだわ。それじゃおやすみ。
良い夢を。
I managed not to slam my door, but my feet felt like they were rooted to the floor. I couldn't take a step. Expelled from my pool of suitors. Kasuga's words echoed in my head over and over. I should be happy. It was something I thought I wanted. So why did this leave such a bad taste in my mouth? It wasn't shame. I didn't feel apologetic. This was something I hadn't felt before. I let my eyes drop, trying to figure out what was causing the weird weight in my chest. Then, slowly, I turned my phone and opened up the Wiz app. The message was still unread. Well, I hope you got some sleep. Bistro Ichiya. Ichiya finally returns, and to make things up to me, prepares a one-night-only dream restaurant. Okay. He still hasn't checked his messages. I sighed and slipped my phone into my pocket. I'd lost count of the number of times I'd sighed since last night. Feeling gloomy, I mumbled to myself. You could at least reply to me.
Good morning. 太陽が気持ちいい朝だね。
Unmistakably schmaltzy voice rang out. I looked up, not sure I believed my ears.
君は今日も幸せかな?
He's back and doing this again already. He's clearly fine. I knew it! Waltzing into the living room with a spring in his step was none other than the source of my recent tribulations.
ちょっと、なんで？家出は？
家出?
Ichiya looked at me, clearly confused.
だってウィスにも返信がなかったし。
何か送ってくれてたのかい? 充電が切れてて。
今までどこに？
ああ、ごめんね。話は後で。急ぎの用があるんだ。
Still dazed, I watched Ichiya dash into the foyer and slip on his shoes. And as he stepped out of the door,
今夜は忘れられない夜にするからね。
the door closed with an abrupt click. I stared at it as I tried to comprehend what just happened. Yeah, right. I'm not going out with it for a longish trip without my battery pack. I mean, sometimes not if I'm driving, because I can charge it in the car, but other than that, yeah, I've got a portable battery on me. Tsumugi was smiling pleasantly, unaware that her question prompted a vein to start throbbing in my head. Yes, I'd heard from him. He'd returned this morning. He waltzed in without a care in the world. I looked down at my hands and realized my clenched knuckles had gone white.
あんなやつ、もう知らない。
Tsumugi's smile faded into a puzzled expression when she saw my vehement reaction.
お帰りなさいませ、ひばり様。いかがでしたか？カノ様とのお茶会とお買い物は。
Another day of impulse buying and venting to Tsumugi. Kasuga was well aware of that too. His sarcasm-tinged smile was not lost on me. It set my teeth on edge. He walked past me, opened the trunk of the car, and observed its contents with a bright voice.
これはずいぶん楽しんで来られたようで。
それくらい普通でしょ。
No, there was nothing reasonable about that number. I knew that better than anyone. Jessica turned to look at me, still wearing his all-knowing smile. I found something else to look at. I'd barely stepped inside the door when Nayata came flying into the foyer from the living room.
お帰りなさい。もうお帰りですか？
ええ。
実は今いろいろありまして。
は？
間違えました。いろいろないです。本当何もなくて困っちゃうな。
What did you break? Kasuga cut off Nayata, who was flailing around for reasons that were not the least bit clear to me.
まずは部屋で着替えをなさってください。ね。
そうですよ。着替え大事。お願いします。
さあ、参りましょう。
Well, just clean up whatever it is that you broke before she's done.
ちょっと
I mean, I know that's not what this is, but Kasuga gave me a firm push from behind, steering me up and into my rooms. What in the world got into everybody today? First it was Ichiya this morning, and Nayata is extra hyper. I changed into normal clothes and went back down to the living room, still confused. I opened the door and...
待ってたぜ、お嬢。お楽しみの始まりだな。
それじゃあ始めようか。楽しい。ね。
What's supposed to be fun? When they used the word fun, often meant terrifying. My three suitors, still smiling suspiciously, dragged me into the dining room even as my heart beat like a drum. Flanked by Shion and Tiger on either side, I had nowhere to go but inside the door, behind which I found Ichiya, standing in an apron. Making visual contact with Ichiya usually meant enduring the pickup lines he reflexively lobbed at me, but this time he didn't say a word. He inhaled, then...
まずは謝らせてほしい。俺はひばりさんの言う通り、普通の女の子が喜ぶことしか考えず、君自身を見ていなかった。
Ah, you've realized the problem.
俺の自己満足を押し付けて申し訳なかった。
Ichiya gave me a formal bow in apology. I knew I had to say something, but I couldn't find any words. I was thinking about apologizing to him. We stood there in silence for a few moments. Then Ichiya slowly straightened back up.
これからは君自身と向き合いたい。だから挽回のチャンスをくれないか。
挽回のチャンス
I had no idea how to answer that. The other three decided to interject as I stood frozen at a loss for words.
というわけで、ここからは俺らが仕切らせてもらうぜ。
Huh?
さあいらっしゃい。一夜限りの夢の店、ビストロ一夜へようこそ。
Yay! Applause! Applause! Tiger spoke that part aloud too.
この店ではたった一人の女の子のために彼女が本当に食べたいと思う料理を一夜シェフがご提供します。でしょ？
はあ、任せてくれ。腕によりをかけて最高の晩餐にしてみせる。
うわー、すっごいね、すごいですよね。
I blinked, still trying to wrap my mind around the cooking show suddenly unfolding around me.
さて、本日のお客様、オーダーは
Order? I did not expect that question, and was left searching for words. Shion looked at me and smiled gently.
ここは君が本当に食べたいと思う料理を何でも出してくれる魔法の店なんだよ。だから素直な気持ちをそのまま言って。
Somehow I doubt he's prepared for every single eventuality. No pretenses, no polite fictions. Simply what I actually wanted. Nothing more. Tsumugi said I should, too. I took a small breath, then looked Ichiya right in the eye. He was nervous, I could tell that much. Making up my mind, I said,
和食がいい。ごく普通の一般的な、気取ってなくて平凡で、でも温かい家庭料理でお腹をいっぱいにしたい。
yes, normal food and lots of it. Nayuta, clearly waiting for his cue, promptly piped up with a cheerful smile.
オーダー、ひばりさん好みの和食コース。
I mean, I assume he's probably assumed that's what I'm going to go with. I'm prepared for that, right?
OK、期待しててくれ。
Ichiya gave me a confident wink, then strutted over to the stove. Did he actually understand me this time? I hoped he did, desperately. I sat politely at the table, sending frantic mental prayers to whomever was listening as I watched Ichiya. After a moment, Tiger sauntered over.
あいつはとんでもねえキザでアホで勘違いしまくりの格好つき野郎だ。お嬢もそう思うだろう。
Sounds accurate.
けどな、あれで結構必死に考えてる。だから今日だけはあいつのことちゃんと見ててやってくれ。
Tiger gave me a crooked smile. I simply nodded in return. Time passed, and soon plates were carried from the stove and piled before me on the kitchen table. None of them were plated in any cute fashion. None of them were fanciful, exotic, or unusual. All of them were familiar, warm, and steaming with delicious aromas.
これは肉じゃが。少し甘めにしてみたんだ。こっちはカレイの煮付けと茶碗蒸し。ひじきの煮物に味噌汁の具は豆腐とわかめ。
When And last but not least, he placed a small bowl filled to the brim with hot, fluffy white rice. Where's the required free cup of water? Yes. I'm sure there's a drink too.
どうぞ召し上がれ。
Although it hasn't been mentioned. Ichio, where's the drink?
いただきます。
いただきます。
I put my hands together in polite prayer, still looking at the food spread in front of me. I never expected that Ichio, of all people, would make common comfort food like this. Feeling slightly weird about it, I hesitantly took a sip of the miso soup. It was delicious! Not only that, it tasted almost exactly like the miso soup I'd grown up on. Oh, he didn't run away at all, did he? He went to go see the cook at the main house whose food she liked, didn't he? The flavour of the broth, just the right amount of miso. I couldn't help but let slip a happy nostalgic sigh. And to top it off, it had tofu and wakame seaweed, my two favourite ingredients in miso soup. The nikujaga beef stew and curried fish also tasted much like the dishes I'd loved as a child.
ひばりちゃん幸せそう。
I felt a little stab of embarrassment at Shion's words. I ducked my head and concentrated on my plate. My bliss. Next to me, both Nayata and Tiger had already vacuumed up their first portions. Nearly in sync, they raised their empty rice bowls and said,
Ogari!
ひばりさんは
Ichia's voice was soft, timid. I paused to think for a moment, then...
お願いします。
I held out my rice bowl and Ichia's eyes gleamed. He took it over to the rice cooker. When he came back, it was piled high with just a little more than the average serving.
どうぞ。
ありがとう。
It was the first time I'd asked Ichia for seconds. It was a dinner that made my heart as happy as my tummy. After everyone had a chance to eat their fill, Ichia went back up to the stove. Returning to the table, he placed a small, cute dish in front of me.
これ
Nope, I'm not sure, just looking at it, what that is. Little golden chestnuts, swimming in plenty of sweet, sweet sauce. Ah, chestnuts. And over it all, a sprinkling of distinctive black sesame seeds. Oh my gosh, he didn't!
食べてみてくれないかな。
At Ichia's urging, I picked up the little black toothpick and speared a chestnut. I held it up for a moment, and then slowly put it in my mouth. Syrup that was sweet, but not cloying. The mildness of tender chestnuts, perfectly accented by the syrup's sweet kiss. I knew it! This is Sumiko's candied chestnuts recipe.
君の懐かしい味になってるかな。
どうして
I was so moved I felt tears prickling at my eyes. Ichia smiled and ducked his head self-consciously.
実は大福の件で君が部屋を出て行った後、春日くんからすみこさんのことを聞いてね。
I assume, Drag, that that these chestnuts have basically been cooked, I guess, in the syrup, and that so they're softer. Plus, it is just the insides of them, but it looks like they've been peeled. So it's the softer inner part already, and I think it's been, if not cooked, sort of pickled is the wrong word since this is sweet, but
君は彼女の家庭料理が大好きで、それで育ったようなものだって。それで澄子さんに会えるよう春日君に頼んだんだ。君の好きな味を教えてほしくて。
Yep, that's where he disappeared off to.
それで帰ってこなかったの？
本当にいろいろ教わってきたよ。料理のことも、君のことも。
Looking up at Ichia's smile, I said, "Why go that far or thank you? I mean, genuinely, I guess the answer is thank you, but we don't want to encourage him. This is not who we're going for." Let's increase the barricade.
どうしてそこまで？
Going to the main estate and begging for help. Ichiya looked to the side, a little embarrassed.
実はあまり和食は得意じゃないんだ。それにどうせ覚えるんだったらひばりさん好みの味を覚えたくて。
Powerful, conflicting feelings of joy and guilt welled inside of me. I had to look away.
すみこさんは何か言ってた？
お嬢様をよろしくって優しい笑顔で結構なスパルタだったよ。
Ichiya grimaced at the memory.
俺は女の子を喜ばせる方法ならいくらでも知っている自信がある。でも今喜んでほしいのは君で、俺が君に喜んでもらう方法はこれしか思いつかなかったんだ。だから喜んでもらえて本当に良かった。
I mean, that was definitely the correct way to go about this, dude, but... I was used to seeing Ichiya's fake cheesy smiles all the time, but this one was different. It was the most natural, happiest grin I'd ever seen. Something about it was infectious, goading me to action. I took a deep breath and...
私こそごめんなさい。ちゃんと自分のことを伝えもしないで身を張って怒ってごめんなさい。
そんな、ひばりさんは何も悪くないさ。俺が勝手に。
まあまあまあ。
Tiger suddenly interrupted us. He was looking at me with a particularly mischievous smirk.
あ、じゃあキスしてやれや。
Now that's going too far.
は？
Why should I? Is he serious? I desperately tried to contain my confusion, while Tiger smiled at me like it was the most natural thing ever.
男がここまでやってんだぜ。褒美くらいやっても罰は当たんねえよ。
I...
まあイチヤも頑張ったしね。今回だけなら。
No, wait, really? I...
キス？キスってキス？キスですか？
うっせえ。
痛い。
Naruto rubbed the back of his head where Tiger had audibly smacked him.
いいだろお嬢。お前も粋な女ってとこ見せてやれよ。
Look, he made an effort. I'll give him that. I don't think he deserves a kiss for it. Not at this point.
タイガそんな無理強いは彼女だって困っているようだし。
一夜お嬢にキスしてほしくねえのかよ。
それはもちろんしてもらえるのなら。
Ichia trailed off, his eyes slipping over to me and then quickly snapping back. I suppose Tiger did have a point. Ichia had done a lot for my sake. I could show a little gratitude for it, and in fact, I ought to. Right now, I think I could...
わかったする
Hibari, no! Ichia's eyes popped open in shock. He turned to look at me and then froze.
キスするって言ったのいいからかがんで届かない
ああ、あ、じゃあやっちまえ。
口じゃないですよね。ほっぺたですよね。ね
I agree with Nayuta here. It's gonna be on the cheek, right?
二人とも騒ぎすぎ。それじゃ彼女も緊張しちゃうでしょ。
Would they all just shut up? I could blame my nerves on their chatter all I wanted, but it didn't make my heart pound any less. The closer I leaned towards Ichia, the faster it beat, and the less my body wanted to obey my commands. Just a kiss on the cheek. It's a peck, nothing more. It's not like I'm going to kiss him on the lips or anything. I'm totally okay with a kiss on the cheek. Ooh, Barricade battle.
どんな味がするのかな。
本当にするの
行くよ俺の愛しい。
Oh, is this where the points matter?
そんな変態変態
よし俺じゃダメなのか。
やっぱり無理
Yay, we won!
はーれ、キッスキッス。
しちゃうんですか。本当の本当に。
もう二人とも静かに。
Their voices sounded far, far away. All I could hear was the pounding of my heartbeat, which grew louder as I leaned closer to Ichia. I started to feel dizzy. I can't chicken out now. I can't chicken out now. Just a little further, and I'd reach Ichia's cheek.
ひばりさんあ、これはもしかしてファーストキスだったりなんてね。
These are two very uncomfortable people.
いやだとしたら俺は最高の幸せ者だね。あ成り行きとはいえ嬉しいな。なんていうか夢を見ているようだ。
My first... I felt my face, no, my entire body flush with heat. The second I realized that, my thoughts screeched to a halt. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I even felt like it had crashed from embarrassment. For some reason, tears prickled at my eyes.
無理
By the time I realized what I'd done, Ichia was sitting on the floor, stunned. Feeling both guilty and ashamed of myself, I turned away from him. Did you just push him over, Hibari? After that day, meals at the house have been entirely ordinary dishes that you'd find on any family's table.
ひばりさん、おかわりは？
いただくわ。
This conversation had become commonplace too. Hot, steaming white rice and familiar flavors. Now that Ichiya had taken a page from Sumiko's recipe book, literally, his cooking soothed me.
はい、お待たせ。
ありがとう。
I took the refilled bowl with one hand and stabbed a chunk of stewed potato with my other hand.
おいしいかい？俺の愛しい人。頬を膨らませて美味しそうに食事をする君に俺はイチコロだよ。
See, now we fixed the cooking issue. If only we could fix this. His flaky personality hasn't changed a bit, though. I sighed inwardly, ignoring Ichiya's chatter, while I focused on savouring all of the familiar flavours of home. Bistro Ichiya. Oh yeah. Ooh, Wiz message.
どうした？リスか？何？
Sorry. I just read the Wiz message you sent while I was out. I didn't mean to make you worry. Sorry. It's okay, but stay in touch next time. I will. Sumiko is a nice lady. She told me all kinds of stories about you. What? What did she say? That's a secret. Tell me. Do you really want to know? Just tell me. I guess I could, if you agreed to go on a date with me this weekend. Hibari? Are you blushing? Hibari, I'm sorry, I got carried away. Yeah, that's a good point, Drag. It's not like he was somewhere that didn't have access to plug sockets. Hibari? Hello? Hibari? It was nothing important, really. The foods and flavors you like, that's it. I liked it because it felt like I'd learned a secret about you only I knew. That's all, I'm sorry. Whatever. Good night. Thank you. Good night. Ooh. Ooh. Bistro behind the scenes. A tasting session exclusively for guys. Ichiya admits that, thanks to the others, he was able to patch things up. Several days after Bistro Ichiya opened, serving Japanese food along with a side of reconciliation. Oh yeah, I need we need Ichiya voice. Whenever I close my eyes, I can see how happy she looked when she took a big bite of the food I'd made for her. The surprise and joy on her face as I presented the candied chestnuts hit me right in the heart. But loveliest of all, ever since that day it felt like the two of us had grown a little closer. But I couldn't afford to rest on my laurels, not yet.
っておい、イチヤ、お前肉じゃがどんだけ作ってんだよ。
すまない。なかなかうまくいかなくて。
いいじゃないですか。豚の生姜焼きも風呂吹き大根も切り干し大根も豚の角煮も全部美味しい。
練習ったって組み合わせ考えろ。いいか。
羊くんに胃腸薬もらったら僕はもう食べないけど
タイガさんいつもちゃんと食べないからそういうことになるんですよ。
万年成長期のお前と一緒にすんな。一夜この菓子は高くつくぞ。覚えとけよ。
分かっているさ。
でも一夜さん、お料理上手なのに和食が苦手って意外ですよね。おしゃれな料理より簡単そうなのに。
I never thought that Nayata would be the one to notice. Oh, should I answer this? I can't go digging my own grave by admitting that I focused exclusively on dishes I knew. Is there a missing word in there? I think there's a missing I. I can't go digging my own grave by admitting that I focused exclusively on dishes I knew I could perfect. If I worded my answer wrong, I'd set myself up for some relentless teasing. I shrugged, trying to look as natural as possible.
俺にだって得意なものとそうじゃないものがあるんだ。もういいだろう、その話は。
No, don't lash onto that. Just drop it. Shion stared at me, obviously doubtful. I quickly jumped into another vague explanation.
和食は奥が深いんだよ。一朝一夕で習得できるものではなくて、出汁の取り方一つとってもいろいろと。
女に受けねえからだろ。
え、そうなんですか、一夜さん。
ダメだよ、ナユタ。心の傷はえぐると後になるから。
I held back a sigh, closing my eyes. Did I talk a little too fast? Or did I over-explain while talking too quickly? How did they know?
でも、なんで和食が女性に受けないの？日本食って海外では人気高いのに。
日本じゃ女が男の胃袋をつかむのは和食って言われてんだよ。定番は肉じゃが。それを男が自分よりうまく作ってみろ。なんつうか恐怖だろ。変に追い込まれた気すんじゃねえか。
ああ、それでね。
Leon's laugh was like a dagger to the heart. I tried to recover, tried to salvage the situation.
頼む。ひばりさんには言わないでくれ。
どうしよっかな。
うわー、タイガさんの意地悪。
んなこと言ってるとナユタには明日の牛丼食わせねえぞ。
牛丼食べたいです。何ですか？なんで牛丼食べられるんですか？
まさか。
はははそうだ、一夜お前には明日の昼飯牛丼を作ってもらう。
Blackmail.
それじゃ僕はポテトグラタンにしよっ
え、好きなの言っていいですか？じゃあ俺は焼きそばとオムライスとコロッケ。
ちょっと待ってくれ。俺の料理はひばりさんのためだけに。
と。僕口が滑りそう。
借りは返せよ。
あとエビフライ。
Sheesh, they've shown you how to blackmail a fellow. I sighed heavily. I guess I kind of have to this once. Oh well. If I'd just made some Japanese dishes to her taste, it was still possible she would have refused them. Their presence, their escort to the dining room, everything they did to back me up, that made it work. That let me get one step closer to her.
わかったよ。ただし、ひばりさんには絶対に内緒にしてくれよ。
おお、
なんだ今の間は。
もう分かったってば。
しつこい男は嫌われんぜ。
明日楽しみだな。
絶対にだからな。
Ichia's level 1 board is clear. That means we're now back to the common route board. I guess we need to get through some more things before we unlock the next board. I'm just gonna go turn on a light. It's getting weirdly dark in here. See what I'm doing now. So we can either have When I Met Tsumugi, or we can have a second friend. I guess we're hanging out with Tsumugi either way. I mean, we're gonna do both of them in the end. Let's go with When I Met Tsumugi.
昔々あるところに何でも持っているのにとても孤独な王子がおりました。
I love this art style, it's like embroidery.
王子は家柄が良いだけではなく美目秀麗、頭脳明晰、誰もが憧れる完璧な人物でした。しかしそんな王子にも大きな悩みがあったのです。それは王子の容姿や家柄だけを目的に近づいてくる人々のこと。王子はそんな連中にうんざりしていました。彼らと友達になりたいと思えるはずもなく、王子が孤独な日々を過ごしていたある日、一人のお姫様が王子と友達になりたいと近寄ってきました。しかし王子は全く相手にしません。
I guess Hibari is the prince in this analogy.
どうせこの姫も他の連中と同じだろう。そう思った王子はお姫様が話しかけても迷惑そうな顔ばかりしていました。しかしお姫様は諦めず、凍りついてしまった王子の心を少しずつ溶かしていきました。そしてその優しさに触れるうち、王子はお姫様に心を開き始めたのです。王子と仲良くするお姫様に嫉妬した例の連中が突然怒り出したのです。王子様はみんなのものだ。独り占めするのは許さない。王子だって迷惑に決まっている。お姫様が王子のことを考え身を引こうとしたその時、王子が立ち上がってこう言ったのです。彼女は私の大切な姫だ。彼女を傷つける者は私が許さない。王子の突然の告白にお姫様は大感激。恥ずかしそうに差し出す王子の手を取り、二人は幸せな未来へと駆け出しました。めでたしめでた。
ちょっと待って。
何か気になるところでも？
Mugi smiled, closing the picture book she'd made.
その新作の童話、身に覚えのある話と似ているようで似てない。
まあ、そうでしたかしら？
I sighed at Tsumugi's feeble attempt to feign ignorance.
この話、私たちの中等部時代を元にしてるでしょ？内容の改ざんがすごいけど。
まあ、私との出会いを覚えていてくださるなんて嬉しいですわ。
She conveniently ignored the part about her creative liberties. I turned to face her and sighed with exasperation. I wasn't going to just ignore my best friend's altered recollections. I began to recount how it really happened.
つむぎ、私が覚えている出会いはね。
ごきげんよう、東條様。今日はいいお天気ですわね。
Looks like she's back again.
こんな日は絶好のピクニック日和。お弁当はぜひ外でご一緒しません？
しません。
そうおっしゃらず。さあ、参りましょう。
ちょっと引っ張らないで。
I'm so tired. I can't wait to get home.
東條様。よろしければ美味しいクレープを食べに行きません？生クリームたっぷりですのよ。
行きません。
そうおっしゃらず。
She's got hold of my arm again. And what's with that maniacal smile?
甘いものがお嫌いなら激辛ラーメンやホットドッグのおすすめもありますのよ。ね。
ねって何？ちょっと
Tsumugi Kano. My life hasn't been the same since I met her. I worried about how I should react to her invitations, and her animated facial expressions baffled me. Up until I met her, my school life consisted of going to class and then promptly returning home. That was all. I barely spoke with anyone, even if they tried to have a conversation with me. Because those people always wanted to talk about the Tojo family. But Kano was different. That's why I had no idea how to react.
ごきげんよう、東條様。昨日のクレープ気に入っていただけたようで嬉しいですわ。
ごきげんよう。別に嫌いな味じゃなかったってだけで気に入ったわけじゃ。
今度はパンケーキをご一緒にいかが？行列ができる人気店ですのよ。
並んだりするのは好きじゃないの。
もちろん、バッチリ予約しておきますわ。
For reason, Kano seemed happy to see I didn't know what to say. I couldn't see what was so funny about that. But I guess it's better than a fake smile. This is just an extrovert adopting an introvert here, right? And giving the introvert no choice in the matter.
ね、東條様。今日のランチも一緒に食べましょう。私、かぼちゃの煮物を。
カノさん、いい加減になさったら？
I looked up, startled by the nasty tone of voice. I saw several of our classmates staring at us. Their malicious gazes sent my heart rate up. I automatically looked back at Kano, and to my surprise, she had an amused smile on her face.
雑音が聞こえた気がしましたけれど。
To be more precise, her smile masked her aggravation.
雑音って。あのね、カノさん。東條様のお友達のような振る舞いは控えてくださらない？
This is about me.
東條様だって迷惑そうにしてらっしゃるわ。
I wouldn't say I'm annoyed. Her classmates accused Kano while I sat there bewildered. Yeah, you see that the issue here, Hipari, is you clearly have a very good resting bitch face. You look like you're annoyed even when you're not. According to them, I belong to everyone and she shouldn't expect any special treatment. It's because I belong to everyone? That's got to be it. I had no clue what to do in that situation. Stupefied, I watched the scene unfold as Kano turned unflinchingly towards the girls. She then spoke fearlessly.
では、東條様は一生お友達を作れないということですわね。だってそういうことになりますわよね。みんなのものは誰のものでもない。そういうことになりますものね。あなた方は東條様にお友達を作らせたくない。一人ぼっちにさせたい。孤独な学校生活を送らせたいということになりますわよ。10年後、20年後に学生生活を思い出して友達が一人もいなかったと、そう言わせたいということですわね。そんなこと言ってませんわ。ただ私たちは東條様が迷惑そうにしているのが我慢できなくて。
All eyes turned to me when she said that. Why me? Everything happening all at once made me want to cry.
わかりましたわ。私は東條様の意見に従います。東條様が本当に迷惑だとおっしゃるのなら、今後一切話すことも目を合わせることもしないと誓います。いかがでしょう。
You can't say no to that face. Look at that face. She looked anxious as she turned to me, clasping her hands together to hide her nervousness. My heart started to ache when I saw how she was holding her feelings back. Even though she could be so pushy when she invited me out, even though she could have won that argument with our classmates, she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to talk with me again, wasn't she? Kano was definitely different than the others.
別に迷惑なんかじゃ。
The moment I muttered that, tears sprung to Kano's eyes and she flung open her arms and hugged me tight. She then lifted her head up and said,
今日からファーストネームで呼ばせていただきますわね。私の大親友、ひばり様。これからもどうぞよろしく。
and that was that. From that day on, Tsumugi Kano officially became my school friend.
実際はこうだったでしょ。私が守ったんでも何でもなくて、紬がただ相手を論破しただけ。
そうでしたかしら。まあ細かいことは置いておいて。
I felt a little bad for our classmates, who Tsumugi just called trivialities.
でも書いていて懐かしくなりましたわ。ひばり様とお話ししたい、仲良くなりたいと切に願っていたあの頃を思い出しました。今がこんなに幸せだと昔の自分に教えてあげたいくらいです。
Tsumugi's smile made me feel shy, and I couldn't help but avert my gaze.
出会った頃のことなんか突然どうして？ずいぶん昔じゃない。
そうですわね。きっと懐かしくなったからですわ。必死な彼らを見て思い出しましたの。ひばり様と仲良くなるために一生懸命だった自分のこと。それに彼らと一緒にいるひばり様は中等部時代に戻ったようで。
そんなことないわよ。紬には丁寧に対応してたもの。それに彼らは紬に似てなんか。
Yeah, Tsumugi, you're competent. Well, the pushiness is actually kind of similar.
けど彼らは話も聞かないし。
Neither does Smugi sometimes.
とにかく全然違うの。全然違う。
Smugi let out a giggle at my mutterings.
それはそうですわ。私はお友達、彼らは花婿候補。違って感じるのは当然です。それでも最近のひばり様は楽しそうに見えますわよ。
え？
彼らのペースに慣れてきたのかもしれませんわね。一緒にいても違和感がありませんもの。
Something about that still felt like a problem to me.
私は別に楽しくなんかないわよ。毎日騒がしいし、うんざりしてるくらい。
それから
いろいろ問題は起こすし、まあ話はよくするようになったけど、でもだからって彼らを認めたわけじゃないの。あの強引さには屈しないんだから。
Smugi smiled happily at me as I spoke passionately.
ねえ、ひばり様。自分が強引さに弱いことはご存知？
え？
実際、中等部時代は私が強引に引っ張り回していたでしょ？
I knew exactly what she meant, so I couldn't argue back. Or perhaps I had always been aware that she pushed me around. Smugi smiled at how astounded I was.
ひばり様は強引さに弱くて、そして情に厚くてお優しくて、真摯に思いを伝えれば必ず答えてくださる方。だからこそ偽りの姿では誰も近寄れない。
Compassionate, kind, easily pushed around. Smugi's words embarrassed me, so I turned away and refused to look at her.
勝負に勝ちさえすれば彼らにも教えて差し上げましたのに。残念ですわ。
そんなこと言って、勝負にトランプを選んだ時点で教えるつもりなかったでしょ。
Smugi grinned at that.
それはまあ、あなたの旦那様になる方なら不屈の精神を育てませんと。そこの手ほどきは私にお任せくださいね。
She clasped her hands together cheerfully and I sighed slightly.
スムギも過保護さなら春日に負けないわね。
過保護になるのは当然ですわ。ひばり様は唯一無二の親友ですもの。ですからこれからもロマンスの行く末をじっくり拝見させていただきますわ。
単に楽しんでるだけでしょ。
あらあら、まあまあ、チャイムが鳴りましたわよ。急いで教室に戻りませんと。
We do need a Smugi route, right? She knows us so well. Smugi said that almost like she was talking to herself and then hurried out of the terrace cafe.
ちょっとつむぎ、待ってってば。
A few years ago, Kasuga was my only ally. Then Smugi came out of nowhere and broke down the barriers I had built. She made my world a little brighter. And now, there were the boys. Regardless of whether they would make headway as potential grooms or not, they were certainly making me change. I didn't know whether that was a good thing or a bad thing yet. But if love blossomed with one of them, as Smugi said, wouldn't my life change even more?
どうなさいましたの？ぼーっとして。
なんでもないの。
Smugi tilted her head in confusion. I took a deep breath without her noticing. It wasn't that I was uninterested in broadening my horizons, but I can't imagine a romance, At least not now with one of them. Ooh, new words message
俺もメッセージ送っちゃおうかな。
from Tsumugi. Today was so much fun. It's been a long time since we chatted about middle school. That was truly a beautiful memory. Beautiful? Even inspired an idea for a brilliant new project. It will be legendary. A veritable treasure chest bursting with cuteness. Hold it. I have a bad feeling about this. 4 brazen princesses. Princesses? Multiple? And a prince who's prickly but shy. Excuse me? Their heartwarming life together. Tsumugi! With a little bit of lewdness. Don't add that! Come now, don't be shy. I'm not being shy. Tsumugi, please. Don't use me as creative fodder for your projects. Don't worry, it'll be fine. It's just fiction after all. That's not the problem. It'll be fine, I promise. I just need to let my imagination stretch its glittery wings a teensy bit. And then, one day, this too will become a beautiful memory. No, it won't! I can hardly wait to start. Just the thought of passing it around an event has me too excited to sleep. Go to sleep, please, and come back to your senses. I never left them in the first place. Yes, you did. Now then, I'd best get working. These ideas won't put themselves on paper. I'll talk to you later. Tsumugi! Tsumugi! Forget a beautiful memory. This was already becoming an embarrassing one. We'll talk about it tomorrow in school. It'll be wonderful, I promise. So, not only is Tsumugi a gothy lolly, and I believe I remember correctly, a cosplayer, but I guess she writes to Jinshi as well. No wonder she's mad about having to go back home during the holidays. Dojinshi. Drag, like, basically, and it's not just comics, but like fan-made work stuff. Which isn't always, although I guess it isn't always fan fiction, as it were. I believe there's also like original character stuff as well. Does it count under that, or is that just being a indie comic artist? I don't know. I do not know the difference. I see. We have to do both of these before we can get to this one. So a second friend. Second friend.
見て、道場様よ。今日も凛々しくていらっしゃるわ。本当、道場様はいつ見てもお綺麗ね。
I found a reason to leave as quickly as possible so I could get away from the whispers. I've become very sensitive to the word Tojo lately. I was painfully aware of every mention, every glance. I tried my best to avoid the mutterings because every time I heard the word, I couldn't help but be reminded. Reminded that I was no longer the Tojo family heir. Not inside. There I was plain old me again, a nobody. I knew who I was and who I was meant to be. I couldn't forget that. And yet, every time I was whisked back to reality, I felt a queasy flutter in my stomach. If those four and their utter lack of restraint was changing me, then... No, it's too terrifying to contemplate. Classmates exchanged greetings as they wandered into the classroom. I went to my seat without a word. I don't see Tsumugi yet. I was just getting ready to sit when... Hearing my name, I turned around. A classmate approached me with downcast eyes. Noah Aramura. I knew her name, of course, but this was the first time we'd ever spoken. I wasn't sure what I should say. I took a moment to think over possible responses before saying,
私に何か?
担任が遅れるらしくて、朝のホームルームはなしだそうです。今日の日直に伝えてほしいと。
ああ、わかりました。
では確かに伝えました。
あの。
はい。
wanted to talk to her. At least, so I thought. But when our eyes met, all my words got caught halfway in my throat.
伝言ありがとう。
いえ、頼まれただけですので。
She turned to leave. I didn't watch her go. I quietly took my seat. I like this. I shouldn't have tried to be conversational. Regrets tumbled through my mind and gloominess began stealing up into my heart.
ひばり様、黒板掃除終わりましたわよ。
ありがとう、助かる。
構いませんわ。ところで、あちらに進展はございまして？
あちらってどれ？
どれって花婿候補の皆さんに決まってますわ。最近彼らとは何かありまして？
Muff listened to Tsumugi as I wrote the day's events in the class journal.
最近そうね、映画を見たわよ。
まあ、映画デートは鉄板ちゃんと進展してますのね。それでお相手はどなたでしたの？
I'm going to assume, Tsumugi, that it was all of them.
全員だけど？
全員。
見たい映画の DVD を持ち寄ったの。リビングに。
リビング。
特別なことはそれくらい。
それのどこが特別ですか？それのどこにロマンスが？言っておきますが、それは暇を持て余した人間が開催する DVD 鑑賞会。デートとは似ても似つかぬものです。
Tsumugi, you didn't ask about dates. You asked about what we've been doing.
ひばり様、どうか思い出してくださいな。彼らは花婿候補であり、親戚のお兄さんではありませんのよ。
わかってるわよ。
本当に？本気で彼らを恋愛対象として見てますの？誰が花婿になりうるのかを日々考えながら生活を共にしてますの？
Tsumugi, I'm pretty sure the answer to those questions is no. I was at a loss for words. Yes, now that we'd spent some time together, I didn't think they were quite as boorish as I'd first believed. lovers. When I remained silent, Tsumugi sighed heavily.
では三森さんはいかがです？
何を
恋愛対象になりうる方はどなたなのか一度真剣に考えてみませんと。さあお答えくださいませ。
Tsumugi's eyes were steely, leaving me no easy way to escape. Trapped, I gave it some thought. What would it be like if Ichio was my lover?
口説き文句が多すぎてげんなりする。ホストってあんな感じじゃないかしら。恋人だったら絶対疲れる。
Yep.
ではイスルギさんは？
彼は私を子供扱いしかしないのよ。すぐからかうような態度を取るし、強引。恋人になったら振り回されるわ。
眉住さんはいかがです？
シオンさんはよくわからない。いつも微笑んでるけどつかめないというか、話の次元が違うというか。
では八神さんで。
那由他くんは恋人というよりペットね。もし彼が犬なら可愛がれる気がするわ。
Yeah, all of those are pretty accurate. Tsumugi's sigh was considerably longer than her last one.
仕方ありません。私が一肌脱ぐしかないようですわね。ひばり様、この後のご予定は？
何もないけど。
Tsumugi? Proactive? I had a bad feeling about this. She ignored my unease and started writing texts from her phone at the speed of machine gun fire.
では参りましょう。
どこに？
着いてからのお楽しみですわ。
Tsumugi's smile made it clear the matter was not up for discussion. I obediently closed the class journal. Alright, what are you up to, Tsumugi?
それでどうしてこんなところに？
Cafe?
ここで待ち合わせしてますのよ。ひばり様の助っ人と。
My what?
いらっしゃいましたわ。
I followed Tsumugi's gaze and turned around. The only thing similar to when we met her earlier is her eyes. I mean, I'm assuming that this is the same girl, given what the little summary thing for this event said. A girl swathed in bold, gaudy colours stood before me. There was no mistaking the flashy style that tagged her as a fan of Shibuya's infamous Gyaru street fashion. She took one look at me, grimaced, and promptly headed for the exit. What? Why? I blinked, unsure of what to say. Tsumugi, however, smiled sweetly and said,
よろしいんですの？私の口がうっかり滑ってあなたの秘密を吹聴しても。
Ah, blackmail. The girl froze in her tracks.
このままお帰りになりますと、明日には学校中に。
Clearly aggravated, the girl stalked over to our table and plopped into a chair with an audible thump. I didn't know Tsumugi had friends like this.
ひばり様もご存知の方ですわよ。
え？
It It was as if Tsumugi had read my mind. I looked more closely at the girl. She leaned an elbow on the table, chin in hand, and matched my stare with blatant annoyance.
まだお分かりになりません?
Tsumugi giggled. All I could do was shake my head.
有村さんですわ。有村ノアさん。同じクラスの。
嘘。
This was Noah Arimura, the serious and demure young lady with glasses who had given me that lesson about... No, who had given me that message about homeroom just that morning. Impossible!
有村さんの真面目キャラは猫かぶりですの。本来の彼女は毎日殿方をどっかいひっかいして遊び歩いているすごい方なんですのよ。
人聞きの悪いこと言わないでよね。遊んでないとは言わないけどさ。それで要件は何？さっさとして。
My mind was still reeling. Couldn't stop staring. Tsumugi ignored my shock and faced Arimura.
有村さん、あなたの日々の成果を見込んでお願いがありますの。
Tsumugi, is this a romance coach?
だから何？
あなたを彼女の恋のアドバイザーに任命いたしますわ。
え？
は？
I was shocked. Arimura was clearly unenthused, to say the least. Tsumugi kept talking.
花婿候補4人と距離が近づいたはいいものの、今の状態は恋人ではなく、むしろ友達。このままではロマンスのかけらもつかめません。
Tsumugi, it's fine if it doesn't.
そこで恋のエキスパートである有村さんに彼らを恋愛対象として受け入れる方法をアドバイスしていただければと。は
あ、マジで？
ウブな彼女にエールをお願いいたしますわ。
Confused, I interrupted the two of them before they continued to converse over my head.
ちょっと待って。彼らに慣れてきたのは最近なのよ。好意を持つかはこれから考え。
あのさ、慣れたら好きになるとか、好きになるかどうか考えるとか、そういうんじゃないと思うけど。
It's not.
初対面だってかっこよければ好きになるし、ダサいやつはいつまでたっても友達止まり。要は相手の魅力にピンとくるかどうかだよ。
Arimura did have a point. If I didn't find anything attractive about them, it would be hard to fall in love. Or I think that's how it works. But love at first sight?
てか、男も男じゃない？好きな子相手だったらもっと攻めるでしょ普通。そいつら本気で落とす気ある？
Now that she mentions it... Ichia offered nothing but except cliché pickup lines and cringeworthy come-ons. Tiger was crass and inexcusably rude. He often made cracks about my bust being too small. Unbelievable. Shion claimed he treated me like a princess, but he was more interested in being pampered like a princess himself. And aside from promising that he'd protect me, Naruto didn't do much except act like a demented dog child. None of them are showing me anything resembling love. Could they really be chasing me for my money after all? I sat there in stunned silence for so long that Arimura grew impatient.
相手が本気かどうか調べる手がないわけじゃないけど。
まあ、では教えてくださいます。その手とやらを。
逆難。
I wish I hadn't been drinking right then.
逆なん
ハニートラップ、素晴らしい案ですわ。
まあそういうこと。相手の男たちを別々に呼び出して私が逆難する。その
True. Whether or not they returned her advances should indicate how serious they were about me. Okay. I made up my mind and opened the message window in Wiz. Stardog's
来
Cafe.
ましたわよ。彼が三森一也さんです。
Wait, we're in Shibuya right now. The crossing, the totally not Starbucks, the totally not Tower Records down that road. I can see it says Tower Books. This is Shibuya.
なんかエリートっぽいね。じゃ、行ってくるわ。
お願いします。
ねえお兄さん、一人ご飯行かない？
お声掛けありがとうお嬢さん。でもすまないね。今日は俺にとって、いや俺と彼女にとって大切な一日なんだ。何せあの堅くなだった彼女が初めて素直に甘えてくれた日だからね。甘えん坊さんの彼女が愛おしい。愛おしさが止まらない。
他の女になびかないのは合格です。でも暑苦しいですわ。
Yes, I can see Marui down there now, so like I said, it's oh well, oh well. Yep, definitely Shibuya. It's a pity we can't see what number that they've gone for the top of this building in front. Because it's going to be a different number than 109. That's for sure. He's so embarrassing.
そう、初めて出会った時から俺には確信めいた予感があったんだ。彼女と俺は赤い糸でつながっているとね。
She is less than impressed here.
有村さんの限界ですわね。こちらを睨みつけてますわ。
早く止めに行かないと。
彼女を前にした時の胸のときめき、まるで流れ星を見つけたような高揚感。そして今日晴れて俺は彼女の心を。
そこまでよ一夜さん。
My voice trembled with a mix of anger and embarrassment. However, Ichiya didn't acknowledge my irritation. He flashed his usual smile and tipped his nauseating wink.
俺の可愛い小指さん、待っていたよ。ちょうどいい。今こちらのお嬢さんに君の話をしていたところで。
Dude, you are opening up way too much to a stranger.
つむぎさんも一緒なのかい？
ごきげんよう、三森さん。
ああ、暑苦しい話聞きすぎて耳が痛い。
ごめんなさい。
あ、こちらのお嬢さんはこれは一体？
それにつきましては後ほど詳しく。さあ、そろそろ次の方が到着しますわよ。
来た、大河だ。
There's going to be an increasing number of people watching her.
へえ、次はああいうタイプ。
Harimura promptly made her way over to Tiger.
お兄さん一人？暇なら一緒に遊ぼう。
なんだよ、お前友達いねえ
Oof. Rude.
いるけど、かっこいいお兄さん見つけたから声かけちゃった。
の？んなことしてると危ねえぞ。
お兄さんになら危ないことされてもいいよ。
たくませてる
うまく流してる感じですわね。大人の対応としてよしとしましょう。
I mean, it's also very rude.
ああ、タイガはいつもと変わらない。
違う。全然違う。
How could they not notice?
タイガさん、有村さんの胸ばっかり見てる。私の時と全然違う。
Oh no!
そこですの？
I barely acknowledged Samugi's sidelong glance. I was too busy grinding my teeth in frustration.
ああ、遊んでやりてえけど、また今度な。今日は待ち合わせしてるか
オッケー、了解。
Harimura nodded and raised her hand. That was her signal to us.
タイガさん、お待たせしました。
ら。ああ、じゃあ、いちよ。つむぎも一緒か。
ええ、失礼ながらお誘いを受ける様子を遠くから拝見させていただきました。
ああ、つうことは、この姉ちゃんも来るか。
Harimura smirked at the surprise in Tiger's voice. He smiled wryly at her impish grin, ignoring the pointed stare I shot at him. Pervert.
なんだよ、お嬢。
別に。
Annoyed, I waited with the others for the next suitor. Also, either we're doing a great job of...
お、シオンが来たぜ。
Either we're doing a great job of hiding, or these guys have, like, zero spatial awareness.
人の多いところは好まないと思ったが、案外いつもと変わらないな。
すっごい綺麗な人。
Harimura's whisper was steeped in shock. She slowly made her way up to Shion. Are we doing the Tower of Heads peeking round the corner? Maybe.
お兄さん、一人ならちょっと話さない？立ったままが疲れるならお店入ら？ねえってば、聞こえてるよね。一緒にどっか行こう。
なんで？
Shion finally looked down at Harimura, his eyes as cold and sharp as icicles. Even from my hidden distance, I felt goosebumps rise.
なんでって、お兄さん綺麗だし、私お兄さんに興味あるんだよね。
僕は君に興味ない。
And with that, Shion completely tuned out Harimura. It was like she no longer existed on the physical plane.
ああ、冷てえな。あいつ、ああいうとこあんだよな。
まあ、確かにね。
I was shocked at their total lack of surprise. Had he been like this before? The way Shion was acting right now was utterly unlike the Shion I knew. I'd never seen him without a pleasant expression. He wore a smile so often it sometimes seemed plastic. But the way he was now...
自分の認めた人間しか相手にしない。 ということですわね。
Yeah, he's actually even ruder than Tiger. I was about to say something when Tiger interrupted.
あの姉ちゃん帰ってくるぜ。
退散ですの？
うん、あの人完全する。これ以上話しかけても無駄。
I felt so bad for Arimura. She had my respect for tolerating that treatment as long as she did.
仕方ありませんわね。ネタばらしに参りましょう。シオンさん。
The moment Shion heard my voice, his face broke out into his typically beautiful smile.
ああ、ひばりちゃん。どうしたの？休養って聞いて、僕驚いちゃった。
And I think she's using it as a... not as a... Not technically calling them an older brother, but sort of... just as a way to refer to... I don't know... a guy who is slightly older than her. I'm bad at this. It's more. I think she's kind of using it as more of a. So hey there, Mister, sort of vibe. I paused, still confused by how he could smile so easily at me. While I stammered, the others revealed themselves.
あれ？タイガとイチヤも来てたんだ。それにつむぎちゃんも。こんにちは。彼女もひばりちゃんのお友達？はじめまして。
He has already completely forgotten they've interacted already, hasn't he? Shion turned his beautiful smile towards Arimura, whom he'd utterly ignored only a minute ago. Now he acted like he was seeing her for the first time.
さっき彼女に声をかけられたと思うんですが。
Shion blinked in confusion, his smile never wavering.
ごめん、覚えてないや。でも、ひばりちゃんのお友達なら、僕も仲良くするよ。よろしく。
He smiled pleasantly at her, seemingly oblivious. What was actually behind that lovely grin? And now, happy time.
ナユタが来たね。やたらキョロキョロしているけれど。
お嬢を探してんだろ。にしても落ち着きねえな。
Maybe we are hiding pretty well.
ご主人様を探すペットみたい。そのうち匂いとかで見つけ出しそう。
True, Nayuta was acting awfully fidgety. He would glance around furtively for a moment and then suddenly stop and straighten his posture, only to start nervously looking around a minute later. It felt like I was watching a puppy trying to learn how to sit and stay. It looked like Arimura may have felt the same way. She had an odd look on her face as she walked up to Nayuta.
ねえ、お兄さん一人なの？ ちょっと話そうよ。
お話ですか？
そうそう、立ち話もなんだしさ、カフェとか入らない？
Naito looked closely at Aramura, who was smiling pleasantly. Suddenly his eyes opened wide in shock.
あれ、もしかして大切な人と出会えるブレスレットを売ってくれたお姉さん？
Oh no, Naito.
ほら、覚えてません？俺のこと古いビルに連れてってくれたじゃないですか。
何それ、やば。
全然ヤバくないです。むしろ効果抜群。だって俺、あのブレスレットのおかげで守りたい人と出会えたんですから。
やばいよ。
ああ、ナユタのやつ逆なんて気づいてねえな。
というか、大切な人と出会えるブレスレットって何？怪しすぎるよね。
そういえば通販番組でもおかしなものを買っていたような。
女性になびかないという点では合格ですけれど、それ以外に問題があります。
Yep. Concerns. Several concerns. He's all like, I'll protect you. He really needs protecting himself, though. Yes, there was something definitely wrong with Nayuta on some very basic level. I sighed and rubbed my temple.
有村さんもお疲れのようですし、そろそろネタばらしに参りましょうか。
Tsumugi smiled wryly. I could only respond in kind.
あ、その前に売ってもらった壺も効果抜群で、他にもいいのあったら教えて。
なゆたくん？
ああ、ひばりさん。
壺も買っていたのか。
つかお前はもうちょい落ち着け。自分から騙されようとすんな。
こっちは面白かったけどね。
あれ、どうして皆さんが？
Nayuta's eyes opened wide in surprise when he saw all of us descend on him.
女性から声をかけられたらどのような反応をなさるのかを拝見させていただきましたのよ。
え、じゃあひばりさんが頼みたいって用事は？
Now I feel bad for lying to Nayuta. Look at his face.
ごめんなさい。
Nayuta deflated like a balloon. All I could do was give him an apologetic look. The poor boy did his best to stay, but he'd been denied his treat. His sad, defeated expression made me start feeling guilty about what I'd done. Yeah.
で、お嬢は俺たちを逆難して反応を見て、今度は何が目的だ？
Yeah, we definitely need to give Noah some kind of reward for this. I took a moment to think before answering. If I said I wanted to know how serious they were, they might get the wrong idea and think I was concerned about how they really felt about me. And if that happened, they would definitely tease me. I could see them getting carried away, too. That was the last thing I wanted to happen.
これは浮気癖の調査です。
浮気？
ええ、毎日結婚した場合、浮気癖があったりしたら大問題でしょ。だから反応を見てたのよ。
たくよくやるぜ。ナンパ役まで用意してよ。その姉ちゃん、お嬢のダチか？
All four of the men turned to look at Arimura. She looked away, not even trying to hide her annoyance.
そう、 有村ノアさん、同じ学校の。
Would it be alright if I called her a friend? While I was thinking that over, Ichia stealthily slipped up to my side. He even tried to nonchalantly put a hand on my shoulder, but I smacked it away.
ちょっと。
照れ屋だな。俺はただ君を安心させたかっただけなのに。こんなにも君を思っている俺が浮気なんかするはずないだろう。今は君の輝き以外目に入らん。
僕も浮気はしないって誓えるよ。君が僕を一番愛してくれるなら、僕の全てが君のものだから。
俺も絶対しないです。ひばりさんのそばでずっと。
俺も浮気するくらいならきっちり別れて新しい相手と付き合うぜ。ね、お嬢の気は済んだのか。
I gave him a slight nod. The lot of them were irresponsible louts. But I believed they were serious about their promises. At the very least, it didn't seem to me like any of them were utterly unconcerned about my feelings.
んじゃ帰るか。
I waited for them to start walking before I turned to Arimura.
今日はありがとう。
別に秘密ばらされたくなかっただけだし。
Arimura shot a glare at Tsumugi, who smiled sweetly in return.
それで。
I gripped my phone tightly in my pocket.
まだなんかあるわけ？
ウィスの ID 交換してくれない？
Aw, look at her! She's truly trying. It took a lot of courage to ask her that. I had no idea what I'd do if she rejected me.
別にいいけど。
いいの？
いいのって。あんたから聞いてきたんでしょ？これ、私の ID。
I hurriedly added Arimura to my whiz contacts.
ありがとう。また明日学校で。
学校では話しかけないで。
Arimura's tone was sharp. For a moment, I felt so shocked it took effort not to let my knees wobble.
あんた、校内で目立つから。私は絶対に目立ちたくないの。話すなら学校を出てから。急ぎなら人がいない場所にして。ウィスもあるし。
わかった。
よかったですわね、ひばり様。でも少し焼けてしまいますわ。
Tsumugi smiled at me. In the distance, I heard the men calling for me.
ほら、呼んでますわよ。ごきげんよう。
じゃあね。
また明日。
I clamped firmly down on the desire to skip, and instead managed a dignified, if slightly brisk, walk. Hibari made a new friend! Hooray!
手のかかるお嬢様ね。
そこがまた可愛らしいのですわ。それで彼らのことはどう思いまして？
本気っぽいのは2人だけ。
ですわよね。
Only two of them.
何か裏がありそうですわね。
So Tsumugi does realize that there's something up here.
ごきげんよう、道場様。ごきげんよう。
I exchanged greetings with my classmates while making my way quickly to my desk, like I did every day. Along the way, I caught a glimpse of Arimura already at her seat. She's here already! I opened my mouth to say hello and then promptly closed it again. I remembered Noah's words. Don't talk to me at school. It was the first time I'd ever thought to talk to a friend who wasn't Tsumugi. But she said she didn't want to talk at school. I ought to respect that. I settled myself at my desk, sighing a little. A moment later, I felt my phone vibrate. A message on Whiz? From who? The sender was Noah Aramura. Unthinkingly, I glanced over at her seat. She wasn't looking at me. There wasn't even a sign that she had touched her phone. She was serious about not attracting attention. A little disappointed, I opened the Whiz app. After school, Cafe Terrace. It looks like she wants me to come to the Terrace Cafe. I was excited, but also confused. The Terrace Cafe was closed and locked after classes ended. Aramura ought to be well aware of that. Curious, I replied, "Okay." I went to the Terrace Cafe and peeked inside. Aramura was already there. In fact, she was the only one there.
鍵かかってなかったの？
かかってたけど開けた。
どうやって？
ここ電子錠だから。私ハッキング得意だし。
Okay, hidden talents.
それって犯罪なんじゃ？
落ち着いてよ。黙ってればバレないから。とりあえず話聞いて。
Aramura didn't sound the least flustered about what she'd done. I nodded reluctantly.
東條さ、うちの父親のことを知ってる？
有村さんのお父様ってロボット工学で有名な有村博士よね。今はアメリカで研究をされているとか。
No wonder she knows how to hack electronic locks. I guess by electronic locks she kind of means the kind you don't use a physical key for. So like key cards or keypads. Stuff like that.
偉そうに説明すればね。私からすればただの変人だけど。それはいいとして。その父親が趣味で作ったペットロボットがあるの。それをあんたに預ける。
She's giving us a present.
え？
Aramura shoved a pile of metal and plastic into my arms. Oh, that's the little rabbit thing that I've seen in the game. Oh, how cute! Its long, heart-shaped ears were particularly irresistible. I guess you could call that heart-shaped. Wouldn't have been my first thought, but I guess? I fought the urge to boop its nose. Do not fight the urge to boop. Boop.
そいつの通称はラビ。使い方は取説にまとめといたから後で読んどいて。
でも私ロボットって詳しくなくて。
You're not a fan of its 1,000-yard stare. Yeah. Would be cuter if it had pupils.
大丈夫。誰でも使えるようにカスタムしといた。このラビはカスタム次第でいろいろと機能を拡張できるんだけど、今ついてるのは最低限の機能だけ。 れが今のあんたにはかなり必要だから。今ついてるのは録画と報告機能。持ち主が外出中に家であったことを録画したり報告してくれたりするわけ。
A robot for keeping an eye on the suitors.
つまりこいつを家に置いとけばあんたが家にいない間誰が何してるかわかるってこと。
Then I can use this to learn how they really act when I'm not around.
花婿候補たちと同棲してるとかカノからざっくり話は聞いた。しょうけどいろいろ喋られると厄介だし、多少なら手を貸してあげる。
Wow, still blackmailing her, are you, Sabuki?
あの人たちのことを探るならラビはいろいろ役立つと思うけど。
Don't mind this very suspicious toy sitting on the mantle, please. Yeah. Arimura glanced at me with an expectant look on her face. Quietly, hesitantly, I asked her,
それってプライバシーの侵害にならない？
あんた変なとこでお人よしだね。自分がおかしな男つかまされて家乗っ取られるかもしれないって時に。
You know what? I think Noah might actually be genuinely worried about us.
それはそうだけど。
それにもしプライバシーに関わるものが出てきたら流出しないようにすればいいだけ。裏が見える発言取れたら証拠になるし、相手を脅すネタも手に入るかもしんないじゃん。
脅すなんて下品な真似しません。
He spoke firmly, staring Arimura right in the eye. Her smirk didn't waver, however, she just shrugged.
ま、それはどっちでもいいけど、私にできんのはこれくらいだから。で、ラビいるの？いらないの？
I looked down at the little robot in my arms. Arimura did have a point. I wasn't in a position where I could afford to be fussy. My entire future was on the line. I hugged Rabi close.
ありがとう。預からせてもらいます。
うん。じゃあ使ってやって。
And with that, Arimura turned to leave. I hurriedly stopped her.
待って、このお礼に何か。
いい、そういうのいらない。
Arimura looked back at me. She didn't try to hide the disdain in her voice.
昨日も言ったけど、学校では関わらないで。校内の憧れの的と一緒に歩いてて、変な勘繰りでもされたら手に負えない。
そうだったわね。
I nodded slowly, then asked a daring question.
わかった。学校では絶対に話しかけない。でも、学校出たらいいのよね。
まあね。
Her answer was non-committal, but it made my heart glow.
わかったわ。約束する。あなたの嫌がることは絶対しない。だから、また、お茶とか。
気が向いたらね。
Arimura shrugged and walked away. I watched her go, big smile on my face. Many people had approached me in my life, wanting to make friends, or at least get close to the Tojo name. She was the first person I'd met who seemed utterly uninterested in my status. I wanted to talk to her more. This story section is longer than I thought it was. Right, I'm going to take advantage of this change in scene to actually go get more water. I will be right back. And I'm back. I returned home. I did as Aramura suggested and read over Rabi's instruction manual thoroughly. I managed to charge it up and create a user profile. Then, deciding it was time to introduce Rabi to the others, I brought it to the living room.
ひばりさん、やっとお部屋から。それ、何ですか？
I'd barely set foot in the room before Naya spotted me and Rabi.
あ？なんだ、ガキのおもちゃみてえだ
確かにそう見えるが、もしかして女子高生の間で流行しているアイテムかい？
確かにデザインは女の子が好きそう。耳なんかハート型で凝ってるし。
I made a deliberate effort to stay calm while they looked over Rabi. I sat on the sofa.
これは有村さんからプレゼントしてもらったペットロボットよ。ラビって名前。撫でたり話しかけたりすると反応するの。
I patted Rabi on the head and its ears obediently flapped in response.
なるほど、ペットロボットか。今時のお嬢さんはこういう電子的なグッズにも敏感なのか。
こいつ、なんか可愛いですね。えいえい。
Nayuta predictably poked at Rabi's nose. I quickly tried to stop him.
絶対壊さないでね、ナユタくん。
はい。
家にロボットって SF みてえだな。で、こいつ何ができんだよ。
え？
ロボットなんだろ？お役立ち機能とかねえのかよ。
Its purpose it's a robot pet tiger. Its purpose is clearly companionship. Tiger's remark caught me by surprise. My eyelid twitched.
ないわよ。ペットだもの。
そんなもんか？
そんなものよ。
そっか。
Tiger seemed to accept that answer, and I relaxed.
ペットって言ってもこれくらいなら平気かな。
あ？シオンさん、何か？
うん、なんでもないよ。
Sounds like Shion does not like pets. That's a strike against him. Shion smiled pleasantly, then leaned forward with his chin in his hand and gazed at Rabi. I gave them all a moment to study Rabi before I brought up the next topic.
私がいない間、この子が家の中を歩き回ると思うけど、お散歩だから気にしないで。それから、いたずらするのも禁止。わかった？
はーい。
I nodded at their obedient response and then noticed Kasuga out of the corner of my eye.
春日もそういうことだからよろしくね。
承知いたしました。
Satisfied with Kasuga's answer, I gently patted Rabi on the head. Yeah, well...
耳を触ると喜ぶみたい。ではどうかしら。
It seems like anything beyond it just being a pet is not something that we want the suitors to know about.
有村様というご友人からいただいたとおっしゃっていましたが、どのような方なのですか？
I looked up at Kasuga and answered,
新しいお友達ができたの。それが有村さん。ロボット工学で有名な有村博士のお嬢さんなのよ。それでラビを。
ああ、ひばり様が一度も数学で勝てていないあの菜園ですね。
Why did he have to bring that up? Kasuga's words had struck a nerve, but I didn't react. I kept a pleasant smile on my face.
総合では私が1位でしょ。
ですが、 高等部に有村様が入学して以来、数学では勝てていませんね。ただの一度も。
Kasuga matched my pleasant smile. I gritted my teeth.
次は負けないわよ。
ええ、ひばり様であればきっと。ですが、有村様とはどのようにしてお友達に？
紬が紹介してくれたのよ。私が彼らのことで悩んでるって聞いて相談に乗ってくれたの。
Along with some concrete means of dealing with them.
なるほど、そうでしたか。
それと春日にだけは伝えておきたいことがあって。
何でしょう？
Kasuga leaned forward. I lowered my voice to a whisper.
実はラビには見たものを録画して報告する機能があって。
Did you really need to tell Kasuga about that?
彼らのこと全然知らないし、何か企んでるかもしれないし、だからこの子で観察というか、
It sounded like an excuse. I still felt guilty about peeping into the men's private lives. I watched for Kasuga's reaction, trying to hide my nervousness. To my pleasant surprise, he smiled.
それは明暗です。良いものをいただきましたね。
そうよね。
Now that Kasuga was on board, I had nothing to fear.
では、ペットロボットをいただいたお礼をご用意しなければいけませんね。有村様のお好みは。
Kasuga began thinking of potential gifts, but I stopped him with a sigh.
いいの。彼女はそういうのを嫌がるから。
そうなのですか？
ええ。でもすごくいい子よ。ちょっと変わってるけど、もっと仲良くなりたい。
I flashed a smile of genuine joy at Kasuga. He smiled in return.
それは良かったですね。では、私はこれで。おやすみなさいませ。
おやすみ。
I made sure Kasuga had left my rooms, then picked up Rabi and whispered,
あなたに可愛いお洋服作ってあげる。どんなのがいい？パジャマも必要ね。一緒に寝ても平気なのかしら。
I gave Rabi one last pat and went to bed. Yes, I think I'll have pleasant dreams tonight. You've received Rabi. Your cute new friend will wander around certain areas and record various happenings while you play through events on the Barricade board. Visit the Rabi page in intermission to set which area you want Rabi to visit, or to view the videos it collects. Oh boy, this is an extra thing to do. Kasuga point of view, huh?
もしもし、私です。有村ノアという人物の調査を。ええ、早急に。では。イスルギ様、私に何か？
別に、けど、ほどほどにしねえと嫌われるぜ。
ご忠告ありがとうございます。ですがこれは必要なことですので。
そうかい。
ええ。
タイガさん、まだですか？
お呼びのようですよ。
ああ。
お前に言われるまでもない。
Okay, so we get to pick our next board now, huh? Well, working our way from left to right, let's go deal with a very rude guy. Rabbi brought back a new video!
たまに妙な視線を感じるんだよ。
Living room incompatible.
なゆた、僕喉乾いたんだけど。ねえってば。なゆ。
A cat!
ちょっとこっち来ないでよ。この猫、家に入れたの誰？
Really, Shion? It's a kitten.
もうにゃんこ、勝手に歩き回るなって。シオンさん、ソファーの上に丸まってどうしたんですか？
ねえ、その猫入れたのなゆた？
はい、近所のおばあちゃんが出かけてる間、心配だからって。もふもふ。
僕が動物好きじゃないの知ってるでしょ。
そうですけど、でもほら、子猫ですし。
子猫だからって何？っていうか、勝手に家に入れないで。入れるなら自分の部屋だけとかにして。
だって俺の部屋、今掃除の人が来てて。
じゃあ外で世話して。
こんなに小さいのに？車にひかれたら危ないじゃないですか。
じゃあいい、僕が出ていく。
シオンさんも子猫と遊びましょうよ。
だから嫌だってば。僕が帰ってくるまでに返しておい。ちょっと、猫が僕の足に。なえた、早く離して。
ほら、シオンさんが好きみたいですよ。そのまま遊んでてください。俺はにゃんこのご飯準備するんで。
ちょっとなゆた、だからこっちに来ないでってば。そこから動いたら許さないから。
楽しそうですね。ほらにゃんこ、ご飯だよ。好きなだけお食べ。ご飯食べたらまたシオンさんと遊ぼうね。
勝手に決めないで。僕は今のうちに出かけるから。
せっかく仲良くなってきたのに。
どこを見たらそう思うの？じゃあね。
Yeah, I also still think that that our human border collie is the best choice, despite there being something fundamentally wrong with him.
にゃんこ、どうし。シオンさん、避けて。
今度はな、もう。
さすがシオンさん。子猫もシオンさんの綺麗な顔がお気に入りなんですね。顔から子猫を剥がさないとですね。こっちおいで。シオンさん？
おでこが痛い。ここらへんヒリヒリする。
言われてみればうっすら傷があるようなないような。でも全然わかりません。大丈夫です。
大丈夫なわけないでしょ。 僕の顔に傷がついて大
シオンさん、どこ行くんですか？俺まだお詫び。
バスルーム。あの猫が触れたところ全部きれいにしなきゃ気が済まない。あとお詫びはいいよ。覚悟だけしておいて。
I guess even Shion has his weaknesses. But I'm more worried about what kind of punishment Nayuta had to endure. I don't even want to think about it. With that video being called incompatible, yeah. I'm pretty sure that Shion and I are fundamentally incompatible. So we could change where Rabbi is wandering. Although the living room seems like a good place. So maybe I should just keep it in the living room. There are so many things to do. So now what we have is we can go and do a couple of non-suitor things up on this board. But you know, we've unlocked this board. Let's start on the tiger board. Arrogant, freewheeling, self-centered, pushy. Those words described Tiger Izarugi to a T. Even worse, he was one of my suitors. He'd reportedly spent his life wandering aimlessly overseas, leaving gambling debts in his wake. There was no way such an unfocused, erratic person could possibly be a viable match for the Tojo family heir. Why on earth would grandfather let him become my suitor? Now that we had lived together for a time, I could safely say that I was even more perplexed than on day one. The Roman poet Juneval once said that a sound body will house a sound mind, or something close to that. I don't exactly live and die by that motto, but as a lady of the Tojo family, I make an effort to act with modesty, moderation, and discipline. I wake every day at 6 AM, regardless of whether it's a weekend, a holiday, or a morning after a late night. No matter what, my alarm goes off at dawn. I mean, 6 AM isn't always dawn. Sorry. When I wake, the first thing I do is stretch. Next, I have a cup of water from the thermos on my nightstand. Then I get up and do more light stretches. Once I feel fully awake, I get dressed and go downstairs to get breakfast.
Ohayo. 今日の卵料理はチーズオムレツなんてどうかな。もちろんケチャップのメッセージ付きだよ。
メッセージはいりません。
This was now my daily morning routine.
あれ、ひばりさんがご飯の後もここにいるなんて珍しいですね。
Yeah, 6 AM is too early. Too early. Unless I'm going somewhere that I have to be up at that time, I'm not waking up at 6 AM. But yes, it's definitely too early if you don't go to sleep until 2. It's also too early if you don't go to sleep until midnight like me.
俺と一緒にいたいんだよね。わかるよ、君の気持ち。なぜなら俺も同じ気持ちだからさ。
部屋が掃除中なので仕方なくここにいるだけです。
Why is her room not being cleaned while she's out?
暇なら俺と体でも動かします。天気いいし、公園までランニングとか気持ちいいですよ。
Although I guess this isn't a school day, huh?
ひばりさんは俺と出かけるんだよ。さあ、どこへ行こうか。君の好きなところへ連れて行ってあげるよ。
With whose money, Ichia?
どちらも結構です。いいから私に構わないで。
そうだよね。ひばりちゃんはここでゆっくり読書したいんだから、二人とも邪魔しちゃダメだよ。
それでどうしてあなたは隣に座るの、シオンさん。
僕が寄り添ってあげるとみんな落ち着くって言ってくれるんだ。どうぞ本の続きを楽しんで。
He's way too close.
俺だってマイナスイオンなら負けないよ。隣、失礼するね。
He what?
あ、じゃあ俺、ひばりさんの足元でマイナスなんとか出します。
そういうのはいいから。
This is why I hate staying down here longer than necessary. They all invent every wild excuse to sit near me and pester me. Well, everyone except him. Speaking of, I haven't seen him yet this morning.
なんだよ、じゃあ朝から男はべらせていいご身分だな。
彼らが勝手にくっついてくるだけ。それよりももう朝っていう時間じゃないけど。
まだ11時じゃねえか。朝だろ、朝。
お昼前だよ、タイガー。
どっちでもいいわ。寝んの遅かったしな。
何時に寝たの？
あー、4時は回ってたな、確か。
That was definitely a late night, Tiger.
4時？
I can hardly believe he's able to stay awake until such an unholy hour to begin with.
よくそんなことができるね。健康にも美容にも悪そうなこと、僕だったら死んでもやらない。
俺の勝手だろ。
そんな不規則な生活をしていたらいろいろなところに支障が出るでしょ。
用があるときはちゃんと起きるぜ。その辺はちゃんと計算してっから心配すんな。
別に心配して言ってるわけじゃん。
それよりも腹減った。おい、一夜何か食うもんねえか。
朝食の時に起きてこない君が悪い。ランチタイムまでお預けだ。
んだよ、残りもんくらいあるだろ。もったいつけてねえで出せよ。
すいません、俺が全部食べちゃいました。なんで殴るんですか。
Oh, night.
俺の食うもんなくなっちまったじゃねえか。おい、代わりにお前が隠し持ってる駄菓子出せ。
なぜそれを。
お前の行動分かりやすすぎんだよ。
そういえば嬉しそうな顔をして買い物から帰ってきてたね。駄菓子屋に行ってたのかい？
わかりました。タイガさんの分まで食っちゃった俺が悪いんだし、取ってきます。
How could you guys bully him into giving you his candy? Candy? Did Knight just spend money at a candy store like a little kid. Not to say that would be terribly out of character for him.
はい、タイガさん、どうぞ。
ああ、これだこれだ。
Naota handed Tiger a box with cartoon animals drawn on the side. Tiger opened it with a practiced motion and promptly began munching on the contents inside. Box with cartoon animals on it. Is it... Hello Panda? Or whatever the koala one is. That's basically the same thing.
いつも朝は野菜のシェイクしか飲まないのに、今日はお腹が空いてるなんて珍しいね。
野菜のシェイク？ああ、青汁な。
Just a veggie smoothie? It's not a balanced breakfast. I frowned at him. Tiger just rolled his eyes and looked away.
朝は胃が動かねえんだ。
もうタイガさんはすぐ胃が弱いとか動かないとか言うんだから、ご飯はちゃんと食べなきゃダメです。
うっせえ。
For all his complaints about having a sensitive stomach, he's sure downing some plastic-looking food right now.
なんだお嬢、俺が気になるのかな。試しに一個食ってみるかい。
Tiger caught me staring at the candy package. He must have gotten the wrong idea. He shook a piece from the box and held it out to me.
結構です。添加物とか塩分とか多そうだし。
一回食っただけじゃ死なねえって。
とにかく毎朝同じ時間に起きてちゃんとした食事をとるべきよ。朝食は一日の活力源と言うでしょ。
へえへえ。
夜に食べたり食べなかったり、生活が不規則だから食欲不振になんかなるんじゃない。
ああ、そうだな。
生活の乱れは心の乱れって言うでしょ。ちゃんと聞いてるのタイガさん。
ああ、悪い。ガキの頃のつまんねえ授業を思い出しちまってついね。
つまらない？
ひばりちゃん、落ち着いて。
そうだ。怒った顔は君には似合わないよ。
It raised my voice without realizing it. Ichir and Shion turned and gave me troubled looks. Far be it from me to back down, though. Tiger had hit a nerve, and I wasn't going to let him go. I glared at him.
お嬢が言うことはもっともだ。でもな、人にはそれぞれペースってもんがある。何時に起きようが何を食おうが俺の勝手だ。それで誰に迷惑をかけてねえよな。必要な時はそれなりにやるっつってんだから、それでいいだろ。
I knew what it was like not wanting others to butt in on your life, but his point of view was different from mine. I needed to make that crystal clear to him at least.
そういうわけにはいきません。
なんでだよ。
What does he mean, like what? It's obvious. Because you're my suitor or because I'm worried about your health? The first one? Yeah, the other one seems too familiar, so I'm thinking this one's gonna be the barricade. It is! We built a fence!
あなたが花婿候補だからよ。一応は。
It boggled the mind to think it, but the vulture at the main house had actually chosen him as one of my suitors. Accordingly, I had a duty to evaluate him and decide if he truly was worthy to be my eventual husband. That, of course, meant his behavior and lifestyle needed to be appropriate for the position. A nice defense. Oh no!
生活のだらしない人とこの先も一緒に暮らしていけるとは思えないし、考えたくもないわ。
I gave Tiger a pointed glance. He looked away from me awkwardly. I spoke up again, getting in another jab while he was on his back foot.
歩み寄る気がないんだったらどうぞご自由に。こちらも考慮の手間が省けますので。
わかったから、お嬢の言う通りもうちょっと気ぃつけるわ。
He wants to get the Tojo family fortune that badly, I heaved a sigh, once again reminded of the real reason he was living in the house. Right then.
ああ、俺ね。ハロー。お、今日本にいんのか。あんないいいぜ、すぐ行くからちょっと待ってろ。
ちょっと、どこへ行く気？まだ話は終わってないんだけど。
ああ、はいはい、続きはまた今度な。
And there he goes. And with that, he turned his attention back to his phone call as he strode out of the living room.
人が話してる最中だっていうのに、なんなのよあの態度。
まあまあ、相手は大河だし、何を言っても聞かないよ、きっと。
そうですよ。イライラしたなら体を動かしませんか？運動で汗を流せばすっきりしますよ。
Consoling me. He's the one who's in the wrong.
放っておけばいいのに。本人もそれを望んでるんだから。
If I could, I would, trust me. But ignoring him would feel like I've somehow given in to him. And that I absolutely refuse to do.
大河に構うくらいなら、その分僕に構ってほしいな。
Shion's gentle smile made me suddenly feel childish for getting upset. Wait, I'm the sulking child here? No, it's not me. Tiger is definitely the one in the wrong.
部屋に戻ります。掃除も終わった頃だから。
I got up from the sofa, trying to remain the picture of calm dignity as I exited the living room.
まだ俺とって言っちゃった。
先はまだまだ長そうだね。
Floppy lifestyle, clear. Okay, so now we have options. Ooh, we also have a Rabby video.
ラビーいらっしゃい。
Lead actress.
映画面白かった。
恋愛映画とかくだらねえと思ってたけど、意外にアクションや爆破シーンが派手で見応えあったよな。
ああ、シナリオもよく練られていた。伏線の張り方がまた見事だったよ。
衣装とかヘアスタイルも凝ってたし、世界観に合ってたね。
特に登場人物が良かったですよね。あの強気なヒロイン、ちょっとひばりさんに似てたし。
あ、どっちかっつったらあの小生意気なガキだろ。すぐすねるとこなんかそっくりだぜ。
俺は恥ずかしがり屋で可憐な姫君が似ていると思ったが。
それを言うなら、あの綺麗だけど不器用なお嬢さんじゃない？うまく話せなくてつい不機嫌な顔しちゃうところ、かわいい。
ひばりさんならどの役も似合っちゃうんだろうな。でもひばりさんにぴったりなのは守られる役ですよね。
お
そして俺は最強のボディーガード。狙われたひばりさんを命がけで守る。 最後はお礼を言われてハッピーエンド。
急に始まって終わったね。
というか、その話はお礼を言われておしまいなのかい？恋人になるとかではなく？
いいじゃねえか。ついでにド派手なアクションてんこ盛りでいこうぜ。ドッカンドッカン爆破しまくってさ。
いいですね。俺3回くらいなら吹っ飛んでもいけると思います。
俺の中のひばりさんが吹っ飛ぶなゆたを前に言葉もなく呆然と立ちすくんでいるよ。
そのノリなら映画じゃなくても家の中でいつも見てる気がする。どうせなら普段のひばりちゃんとは少し違った役どころが見てみたいかな。
一理あるね。ならこういうのはどうだい？物語の始まりはある高級ホテル。ラウンジで出会った2人は一目で恋に落ちていくが、実は彼らの家は敵対関係にあった。
That's Romeo and Juliet, actually.
愛する人と共に逃げるか、それともいっそこの手で殺すか。悩んだ末にひばりさんは俺に言うんだ。
死ね。
そう、死ねって違う。
俺はちょっと言われたいです。
つかそれだといつものお嬢でも普通に言いそうだしな。
俺の中のひばりさんはもっと
一夜、それ幻想だからね。一夜に優しいひばりちゃんなんてどこにもいないんだよ。
追い打ちはその辺にしてやれ。そういうシオンはどうなんだよ。お嬢が主役としてどんな映画がいい？
そうだね。ひばりちゃんの魅力を引き出すならサイレント映画がいいかな。
サイレントって無声映画か？
そう。声が入ってない分映像に目が行くから。彼女のこともちゃんと見てもらえそうでしょ。ストーリーは分かりやすい方がいいかな。旅行先で出会った男女が恋人になるまでとか、あ、おとぎ話みたいな話でも可愛いよね。
おとぎ話ってひばりさんがお姫様になるってことですか？ドレス着てヒールの高い靴履くんですか
Do all princesses wear super high heels, Naita?
似合いそうじゃない？
はい、特に靴が。
Yes. I had almost forgotten the foot fetish. Have I ever seen a silent film? I've seen films that are entirely set to music. Does that count? Like no voice lines, just music?
ナユタのそれはもう完全に病気だな。
しかしこうして考えるとひばりさんは女優も似合うな。
ですよね。ひばりさんって美人だし頭いいし完璧だし絶対活躍できますって。
それはどうかな。
俺もないと思うぜ。見た目だけならなんとかなってもな。
なんでですか？絶対いいと思うのに。
だったらお前演技だからって一夜の口説き文句にうっとりしてるお嬢を想像できるか？
一夜さん素敵、かっこいい、大好きって笑顔で言えるひばりちゃんをなゆたは見たいと思うの？
それは
俺の中のひばりさんなら演技じゃなく素で言ってくれるが？
すいませんでした。俺そんなひばりさん見たくない。
お嬢はお嬢のままでいいんだよ。
カメラ向けたらとりあえず睨んでくるシャイなひばりちゃんが僕は好きだよ。
ですね。いつものひばりさんが一番。
俺の中のひばりさんは。
それはお前の中だけで大事に育てろ。お嬢には内緒にしといてやるからね。
Making fun of his weird ideas. But getting mad at them is beside the point. I need to stamp out Ichia's idea of me stat. That was my new mission. Okay, let's... One of these is going to be fairly quick. Tiger from Ichia's perspective.
まったくタイガのやつ。
あの人がどうかしたの？
ひばりさん？ごめん、ランチはまだ準備中なんだ。
それは構わないけど、タイガさんが何か？
いや、食事のことでちょっとね。俺が作るメニューがお気に召さないのか、意見の相違というか、なんというか。
She is kind enough to cook for him and he complains?
タイガさんって本当に偉そうよね。
Ichia grimaced as I muttered to myself.
まあ、言葉遣いもあんな感じだし、態度も大きいのは事実かな。
全面的に同意するわ。
ただ、言ってることは間違ってないんだ。それに妙に貫禄があるっていうか、年下のはずなのに、たまに俺より年上感出してる気がしてね。どうも彼の言葉は無視できない。正直俺の苦手なタイプなんだけど、でもまあ悪いやつじゃないとは思うよ。
I thought Ichia was another member of the Can't Stand Tiger Club. I honestly felt a little betrayed. I mean, Tiger clearly ran on snark and spite. Ichia must have taken my shock to mean something else because he nodded sympathetically.
でも君に対する態度だけは許せないね。善意で心配してあげたのにあの態度。彼はもう少し女心を学ぶべきだよ。安心して。彼が何を言おうが、俺はいつだって君の味方だから。
気持ちだけ受け取っておくわ。
It looked like Ichia still had something to say, but I turned and walked away. Oop, another... We're gonna get videos every time we come back to intermission, huh?
ナビより俺を可愛がってください。
Write a love letter.
だから一夜のセリフは臭すぎんだろ。聞いてるこっちが鳥肌立つっての。
はは、分かってないな。女性というものは甘い言葉を聞くことで安らぎを感じるものであって。
Dude, your words are less than comforting.
言ってる人の自己満足で相手を疲れさせることもあるみたいだけど、一夜も気をつけて。
俺はそんなこと。
わかんない。これでいいのかな。伝わるかな。
なんだよナウタ、いきなり入ってきて。
というか僕、ナユタが頭使ってるところ初めて見た。
しかも手にはペンと便箋？箸やダンベルでなく？
こりゃ明日は雨だな。で、 何悩んでんだよ、なよた。
えっと、あの、その。
なんだ、やましいことかい？
違いますよ。やましくなんかないです。これはだからその恋文です。
恋文？おい、古風すぎんだろ。
Hi, Tiger. I think it's sweet.
最近はあまり聞かないね。
でも公園のおじいちゃんが気になる相手がいるなら恋文をかけって甘い言葉でおばあちゃんの心を掴んだって。
一夜、甘い言葉だって。仲間ができてよかったね。でも僕も手紙を書くのはいいと思う。海外には感謝の気持ちを手紙にするグリーティング文化もあるくらいだし。
グリーヒン？よくわかんないですけど、おしゃれですか
Yeah, I'm guessing the love letters and shoe lockers are just a trope then, huh?
それは内容にもよるけどね。なゆたはひばりちゃんに何て書いたの？
でもそれは。
いいから見せてみろって。
も
う何？
俺はあなたの後ろとか横にいていろんな危ないことから守ります。だからいつでも踏んでもらって大丈夫です。
Well, it's no different from what he's straight up told us. Alright, see you around, Nick. Try and get your 6 hours.
いつでもたくさん叱ってください。ずっと見てます。安心してください。
This love letter is not particularly sweet.
ストーカーかよ。
しかも変態。
まったくだな。俺ならもっと甘く切なくとろけるように情熱的に。
甘くてとろける。それ俺にも教えてください。お願いします。
そうだな。まあそんなに言うなら少しくらいはアドバイスをあげようか。
ありがとうございます。
なゆたも一夜みたいになっちゃうのかな。
やめろ。あんなのが2人とかこっちが持たねえ。
Yeah, applying sugar literally to a letter would be a bad idea. Unless you've written us on that edible paper stuff. With, like, edible ink.
まあ俺の言った通りに書いてごらん。まずは彼女の容姿を褒めることからだ。君の唇はまるでイチゴのように艶やかで、つい奪いたくなってしまうほど魅惑的。君を見ているだけで蜂蜜を口にしたように甘い気持ちに浸れる。だが君の美しさは外見だけでなく、心は清水のように清らか。
清水？おいしい水？まあいっか。
清水のように清らかな君の心が俺にはとても眩しくみずみずしい。イチゴの唇、蜂蜜の愛おしさ、清水の君に乾杯。
Dude, you are overdoing it.
いちご、蜂蜜、水、乾杯。くっせ
意味もよくわからないしね。
構わないさ。 俺がこの気持ちを伝えたいのはひばりさんだけ。
And Nayata, don't write that down.
どうだいなゆた、俺の恋文指南は役に。
タイガさんとシオンさんも何かないですか？ひばりさんを喜ばせる恋文のアドバイス。
He's realized he's not going to get any good plans from her.
一夜だけを参考にするとひばりちゃんを困惑させちゃうもんね。そうだな。僕がグリーティングカードを送るときは目に入ったものを情景描写するかな。気持ちいい風が吹いてる庭でこの手紙を書いてるとか、綺麗な花が小さく揺れてるとか。
Shion, this isn't a postcard from your holidays. Seriously.
なるほど、状況。よし、タイガさんは何かありません？
俺かよ。
何かアドバイスしてあげたら、人生の先輩として。
そりゃいいんだろ、そりゃ。いいかなよだ。ラブレターってのはな。
はい。
シンプルイズベストだ。自分の一番伝えたい気持ちを一言で伝えりゃいい。
一言。
Yeah, Noah would give good advice, potentially.
そうだ。締めにバシッと胸に刺さる言葉を書けば伝わる。わかったな。
はい。なんか俺すごいの書ける気がします。書き直してきます。
おう、頑張れ。
俺が熱心に指導したんだ。名文が出来上がるはずだよ。
ま、最後が閉まってりゃなんとかなるだろ
う。どんなラブレターになるのか楽しみ。
This is supposed to be a love letter. Let's have strawberries and honey together, and then we'll drink a sweet glass of water that looks like you, Hibari, with toast. Right now, Ichia, Tiger, and Shion are lying on the couch in front of me. They've been lazing about all day, just chatting. Step on me, Nayata Yagami. Okay. Well, that was certainly something, and with the end of that Ravi video, I am going to end today's stream. Thank you very much for watching. It has been fun. Oh, these boys, huh? We made a new friend. So yes, anyway, if you're new here and you've enjoyed your time, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on social media, which is linked in the description box. The streaming schedule for the channel is both over there on social media and over here on YouTube in the posts tab of the channel. The next scheduled stream is Friday, 7 PM for some more Tales of Symphonia as I continue side questing to get the Devil Arms. So I hope to see you then, or another time. Once again, thank you very much for coming, and this is Kalla signing out. See ya! Bye bye!